Okay, I'd like to say hello to everybody. I am introduce myself. I am Interim Chair Willie Davis for the Human Relations Commission of High Point, North Carolina. Today is July the 8th, 2021. I'd like to thank everyone for being here that is here. I'd like to start off by having a roll call to make sure so we can know who all is here. If we could do that, but first I also like to think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we are joined by Director Gerard Hollister and our DEI Officer Jelani Briggs of the Human Relations Department, and of course our Manager Race McCray. And we have I also like to say hello to our community relations specialist. I hope I got to say it correctly. Dancy Taylor, Miss Taylor?
Denise Taylor here.
Denise Taylor. Hey, Denise Taylor. Okay. Denise Taylor. Okay. Okay. I'm glad to have you here. Glad to have you aboard. If we could we go ahead and do a roll call? If that's okay with you, Mr. McCray?
Sure. So Denise, that'll be you managing that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Commissioner Sharon McGregor.
Here.
Commissioner Stacy Jones.
Here.
Interim Chair Willie Davis.
Here.
Mr. Race McCray.
Here.
Mr. Jerron Hollis.
Here.
And I, Denise Taylor, am here.
And Denise, you can read the other commissioners' names and then they're in the record as not present.
Okay, Commissioner Kim Barker, Commissioner Betsy Clark, Commissioner Iqbal, and Commissioner Cortland Price. Mr. Jerron Hollis, I'm sorry, you've already answered present. Mr. Jelani Biggs.
Yes, and he's not present tonight either.
And shall I go over the council member Tyrone Johnson?
He is not present now, but he might be joining us shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Interim Chair, I hand it back over to you, Interim Chair Davis.
Okay, Denise. So we don't have a quorum right now. So we're going to put that out for maybe the end of the meeting or maybe later on to approve them. Go ahead.
To approve the minutes, you're going to.
Yes, to approve the minutes for.
Right.
To approve. We don't have a quorum to do that right now. So we'll put that off later. So we're going to step right on into our next phase of our agenda is Fair Housing Workshop. Mr. McCray, if you have any updates about our workshop.
I do, and these are going to be just some quick updates. We've got the workshop series has been set. We have sent out some invites to folks on the subcommittee for the first meeting, but you'll be receiving invites anytime soon for the whole series. The gist of it is that we will have four sessions, and those will be beginning July 22nd. I'm reading out here. And that's going to be our Fair Housing 101 kind of overview. And then the second meeting will be the following Thursday, July 29th. And that will be a history of fair housing in High Point. So that will kind of cover the kind of our foundations, if you will. And then the next meeting will be the following week. That will be August. It'll be on Tuesday, August 3rd. And that will be, we're bringing in a lawyer from the Fair Housing Assistance Program over in Winston-Salem. And she's going to be discussing the legal aspects of the program. And then the fourth session will be on August 10th. And for that session, we are bringing in two different fair housing investigators one from Greensboro and one from Winston-Salem. And they are going to do kind of a panel presentation where they discuss kind of an overview of the investigative process and how that works. And they'll be able to talk about that from start with intake all the way through the end and closure of cases. And that will be a panel discussion. We will have a number of community partners involved throughout, and so they can be actively, and just along with you all on the subcommittee, they're going to be actively asking questions along the way. All of these meetings will be virtual, and they will be streamed and archived on the city's YouTube account, just like these currently are. And so anything can be listed. If you are part of the subcommittee and you are not able to attend the meeting, you can catch up on the YouTube, and then any questions that happen in the intermediary between meetings can be emailed to me. I will provide my email at every single session, and we will get answers to those questions and then make sure that they are read into the record at the following session. So that way we can get a full breadth of folks who are coming. All of their perspectives will be recorded in these meetings, and the subcommittee can have all information that they need to ultimately create a recommendation to City Council. Any questions about that or where we are?
The first meeting, do we have a time on the, what time is the first meeting?
All of those are going to be at 5:30 p.m., just like ours. They're going to be evening.
Okay. So that's great. We're going to get started. We're going to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And that's good. And it will be able to catch up if you miss it on YouTube. That's all right. That's okay. That's good. So anyone else have any questions or anything? Okay. Well, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. Go ahead. I thought I heard someone say they had a question. Okay. Well.
No, I got
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Ms. McCray.
I think we might have a connection issue there. Let's give Commissioner McGregor a second.
You're right. I thought I heard her in the background.
Yeah, I think it's probably a connection. She might cycle back through. She's frozen on my screen.
And again, Mr. Hollins, if you don't mind, you're helping me out because right now I can't really see everyone. So if you see someone hand raised or something, just kind of let me know, will you please?
Sure. I think Commissioner McGregor, can you hear us now? Okay, she dropped off. So let's remember when she comes on that she had a question.
Okay. All right. Well, while we're waiting on Commissioner Gregory to come on, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next step on our agenda. As our homework hangout updates. We'll give that back to Mr. McCray.
Absolutely. And these are fairly minimal. We've talked about before the progress we're making on getting finding an appropriate Title I partnership that we can work with. We had identified one from the High Point Police Department, but when we approached them, it didn't quite work out. So we're continuing the site selection. And that's really all the update that I have is that the site selection continues. We did make progress, but it then got derailed a little bit. So I hope to have further updates at our next meeting.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Have you thought about what's that center right beside the police department? What is the name of that center? What do we call that? Right beside the police department at the moment. Moorhead, right? Have we looked at that?
I don't believe we've looked at it directly. Mr. Hollis, would you?
Yeah, I think our first attempt, our first swipe in kind of keeping the consistency with the model that we've seen was looking at locations that were on site and some of our housing communities. But I think if we find that those locations, for whatever reason, aren't suitable, then excellent point, Mr. Chair, we would need to branch out into other locations that are available and in the proximity of our target audience So yes, that would be one of the lists of, that'll be on the list of facilities that we would consider. And just like with other things, we just, depending on when it was, we just have to make accommodations with what's already scheduled there and those kinds of things. But yes, that's a good point. But we have not started looking at individual facilities outside of the housing communities that we had looked at, in keeping with that model for the program. But as COVID has taught us, we've got to be flexible, and who knows what kinds of things we'll be having to try, and what groups will end up having to reach out to use a particular facility. But just to keep in mind, the goal here, we can have a program anywhere, right? The goal here is proximity to community groups that are in need, that would solve some of the larger issues of making sure that we're available, making sure that there's interaction with city staff in our public safety realm, and some of those other components that we talked about. So it's multifaceted, but it's a work in progress, because there are some other things that are competing events and facility uses. So we'll keep working on that. But Race has done a great job at tracking this down. So I'm confident he will come back with an answer.
Oh, yes. We appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I see that Commissioner McGregor is back with us. I think we cut her off, or she cut us off when she was asking the question. So if you don't mind.
Let's go back then. Commissioner McGregor, can you hear me?
I really have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I can hear you. Yes. I didn't really have a question, but just to piggyback on what Mr. Hollis was saying about Moorhead Recreation Center. I remember several years ago, we did the Midnight Basketball program there for probably 5 to 6 years in the summer. And it was, right beside the police department, but it was also in an area where there were youth who needed the assistance, and it was easy for them to get to. And we serviced that large area near Moorhead Recreation Center. That's the only time.
Okay. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. We really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any comments? Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to move right along. We'll keep this moving right along. Any additional items we'd like to talk about, consideration? Mr. McCraig or anyone else?
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to start. We have an invited guest tonight, Miss Giselle Monzi, and I'd like to start with her, because I know she's very busy and I want to respect her time. She's here to talk to you all about the Vax Connect program. I wanted to highlight this work that's happening here in the city, and she wanted to be able to talk about that and make a call for potentially some volunteers.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Race. And good evening, everyone. I'm sorry to kind of jump in last minute to your meeting. But if you haven't heard about Vax Connect, I'm going to give you a tiny little glimpse of what the project is. So with the YWCA, together with the Guilford County Health Department and various partnerships around the city, I have a team that goes out and they canvass. We go knocking door to door. We're not selling anything. We're just educating the community on the vaccine, and we are providing, I guess, a plethora of things. The purpose of the Vax Connect is really to remove barriers in neighborhoods that were they have very low vaccination rates. And so we go knocking door to door, and the whole purpose of that, my team goes out, we offer our information. They get a little goodie bag with our phone number, with little things, little knickknacks from the Guilford Health Department. But if they have questions or there are any barriers, we're there to remove them. So for example, if they say, if we knock on the door and, we ask, hey, we're here from the YWCA, we're the Vax Connect program. Have you gotten a vaccine? If they say yes, we say thank you. And we capture some information as well. But if they say that they haven't, then we're there to provide appointments. We're there to provide, we can schedule as well transportation. So the city of High Point also works with us to provide transportation from their home to the vaccine location and back. If they are homebound and the person cannot leave the home for whatever reason, we can have somebody come in and give them the vaccine right there on the spot. Just to give you a little glimpse of, is this project working? It absolutely is. It has been a tremendous success. One of the parcels that we worked on was parcel 142. In that area, I can't remember what the streets were, but I can look it up real quick. When Dr. Steven Sills out of UNCG, from UNCG, he did a study or collected some data. And the parcel that we were working on, parcel 142, actually saw a 37% jump in vaccination rate, which was 5 times higher than our surrounding parcels, which that was a huge testament to the work that my team is doing. And we do, like my team, we go out and we knock on doors, we're pretty much 5 days. And we go out in the morning and the afternoon. We do different times and shifts, but we depend a lot on our volunteers. And our volunteers are the most intricate part of our work, because it allows us to expand and cover more ground. My Vax Connectors, as I call them, they have to always be out in pairs. And we're wearing our bright neon orange shirts, and we have our little cart that we carry around. And so people are always stopping us and they're saying like, hey, who are you guys? And we're saying we're just providing information about the vaccine. And what I tell people is that we're not selling anything. We're not trying to convince anyone to get the vaccine. We're just there to answer questions and just to share some of the pretty neat stories that my team has been doing. We had one experience where they knocked on the door and the couple opened up. And, they asked, have you gotten the vaccine? I said, no. And they said, why not? And they started throwing out every single question in the book known to man. They were saying like, oh, conspiracy. Oh, it's magnetism. Oh, they're going to put a tracker. Oh, like whatever you can imagine, they threw it at them. Now, my team has been trained by the Guilford County Health Department. They were very respectful. They were able to answer every single question and offer up literature to them. They said, thank you so much. We'll think about it. We'll see you later. They continued canvassing that evening. And on the way back, as they were walking back to their car, the couple waited for them outside. And they said, hey, you guys answered our questions so well. You took away even religion was thrown in there. You have done such a great job at answering all of our questions. We're ready to schedule our vaccination appointment. And like that, they have tons of stories. And so we're really there just to offer our assistance, just to remove barriers, to build trust. A lot of the things that we're finding is that people are busy living life. They're either working a lot, or the vaccines are not at the times that they need it, or they don't have a ride, or they're homebound. And it's been great to be able to offer up the assistance to say, hey, we can solve that issue. How can we help you? And so reached out to me because we are in need of volunteers. We're in the summer months and a lot of people are on vacation, or, they're out and about. And so we're a little bit shorthanded. So we do have an email that goes out to many different organizations in the community. We have a sign up link that all you have to do is just pick your shift and your time. We do provide you with a shirt for you to wear. We'll give you water, and in that same link, there is a video that if you want to be trained and you want to know what information we're giving out, it's all there. It's all public. We're not hiding anything. And really the volunteer is just there as a support. My Vax Connector is the one doing all the talking, and they're answering all the questions. But it's been really good because the volunteers, oftentimes with the people, when they're opening the door and they and they decide to talk with us, they'll say like, did you get the vaccine? And they're like, yeah, I got it back in February and March. And this was my experience. So it's really there to share the experience with the vaccine and what it means to them and why it's important for them to have the vaccine. So there's nothing, like I said, you're not selling, you're not pressuring, you're not telling them you have to. You're just giving the information, and and we tell them whenever you're ready, here's a phone number, call us and we'll make the appointment for you guys. And we've been getting a lot of phone calls from people that have shared their numbers, even from other parts of like outside of the parcels or like cities and stuff like that. And we're taking them, we're doing them. And so pretty soon we're going to start doing mobile clinics, taking them to the community. And so that's also going to remove a barrier, because we might, we're going to be able to say like, hey, we have a mobile clinic today from 2 to 5. Oh, you have to just walk over. So that's really it. That's the gist. I don't know if you wanted me to share anything else, Race, but that is the gist. It is an amazing program. And when we started it, we were building the plane, as we were flying it. We didn't know what was going to be the outcome or the results. And we're finding that it's being super successful. And I mean, I have the dream team and with me, and they're killing the game, in other words. So
All right. Well, thank you. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It sounds like a great program you got going on there. Let me ask you a question. How young can you be to take this vaccine?
So right now, I think the youngest is all the way to 16 or 12. Don't quote me on that. Is it 12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
So I want to say it's 12. Yeah, no one younger than 12. So.
All right.
So
Thank you.
and I have a question for you. So as a volunteer, you said you have a Vax connector that's been trained. So they're pretty much answering all the questions. We're just, again, because I was thinking, it's a lot of training you're going to have to do with volunteers. So we're just there to escort, to support. Okay.
Yes, as a support system. Yeah,
Gotcha.
because otherwise, so what happens is when we go out, and I'm going to use, Westwood, that's where I'm at. I'm going to use, it's a bunch of offices, which is terrible street, but but if we were to have a bunch of houses, right, then that means that I can have one Vax connector with a volunteer on one side of the street. I can have the other one on the other side, and we cover more ground. Otherwise, they have to be together. And so by having the volunteers, it allows my team to be able to spread out a little bit more and cover more houses. So, but really the Vax connector is doing most of the work. They're doing the talking, they're answering the questions, they're doing the scheduling. You guys are there as a support system to answer any additional questions or even to share your experience. The volunteers that have been working with us, they are phenomenal, and they've got amazing things to say about my team. And we have one that comes in every single week. I think he does like either 1 or 2 evenings a week. He enjoys it. And he's gotten to a point now where he's comfortable. He's done it so many times that he is comfortable starting the conversation. So that's how much, he really enjoys the program and the work that we do. And really all you're doing is just sharing, information about the vaccine. Any other questions?
I believe, Mr. Chair, we have a question from Commissioner McGregor.
Hi, I don't have a question, but I would just like to commend your team. They were in my neighborhood. They stopped at my house and asked, had we been vaccinated? They asked which vaccine did we take. They gave us a nice little goodie bag. Very professional. They did a great job, made you comfortable. So I just want to commend you and your team. They're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. I'm going to relay that information, and I'm going to say, you never know who you're going to run into. So thank you. That I so appreciate you sharing that. That gives me, and I've gone out with them. So, but to hear it from you, like, wow, thank you so much. So like I said, I have the dream team, and I couldn't ask for the best people. Like, honestly, they make me proud, and I'm so excited to have them in my team.
Well, I really like the bobblehead pin.
I can get you another one if you need to.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, I have the little bit. So this is what it looks like. So I literally did another presentation earlier. But this is what the little goodie bag looks like. And then the literature is literally right here. They get a little booklet with all the vaccine information. And then, you know, all the goodie bags, like they get, you know, there's like a clip. And I'm making a mess over here. You got me excited. You know, little cell phone thing. And so the little pen, this is what she was talking about, little bubble head. Right here. And so, which I have one myself because they're super cute. But anyway, so yeah, so it has like, you know, there's like a little koozie, there's all kinds of little goodie bags. And so whether they had the vaccine or not, they get it. And then there's a door hanger that's where our phone number is. So like whenever they're ready to schedule their appointment or if they give it to a friend, the number is right there. All of our information is there. So, you know, it's a labor of love. That's what I like to call it. And you know, but we are looking for volunteers, and literally all you need to, you know, you can do it at an hour and a half. You know, we're not asking you a whole day. It's just whatever you can give. So if you know, we canvas in the morning, in the afternoon, and the weekends, you know, so we're flexible. And Rafe, I'll send you our link with all that information that has like the sign up and everything. And if you want to share with your friends, you know, or anyone, you know, if you have kids that are 18 or over that maybe they need a little, you know, service volunteer hours, they can join our team. And I'll send you all that information and then you can pass it over.
Thank you. That'll be perfect. That's what we'll do.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, Mr. McCray, you have any other additional items you'd like to talk about?
Sure, they're all quick things, but I just want to address a few things. The first thing is I want to officially recognize on the call Denise Taylor. She's our new hire, our new community relations specialist. So she'll be assisting us with all these meetings, and many of you might have already gotten an email from her and maybe even met her in person already, but we're very, very excited to have her on the team. And so, you know, please stop by, say hello if you haven't had a chance. I think that you'll find that we're even bigger and better as an office with her being a part of it.
I'd like to say welcome to Ms. Taylor and thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Glad to have you aboard. I'm sure she's going to be great to helping us move forward. Anyone else have anything else? Okay, go ahead.
Sure. So I just have two other items that are, again, brief. One is that I wanted to circle back to, in January, we had our retreat, right? And we came up with a number of items. And one item that we've not talked about very much is the possibility of offering some kind of mediation services that you might remember we talked about that, or conflict negotiation. That has been a kind of a research project because we weren't sure how it would look. So I wanted to just give a brief update on that. I was able to connect with a community mediator in another town, and she was able to share with me that it would probably not be feasible for us to offer community or any kind of mediation easily ourselves. And the reason would be that that typically mediators operate out of an office that not only have the mediators been certified, which is easy, just you do some training, but then the office itself is certified as a community mediation center. And that certification is really important because it is protected in state statute that you cannot be, any conversation that happens within the terms of a certified mediation cannot be subpoenaed later. So whereas if we were just to offer mediation and I'm, you know, having two folks who are trying to find, resolve an issue, say a complaint between two folks, maybe about a noise complaint or something like that, and one was to say something inflammatory, that could be subpoenaed and used in a court of law later, which then discourages folks from entering into the mediation itself, because if what you say is not protected, then why would you come to the table? So it's quite possible that that will be the end of our research in that. because unless we were to pursue becoming a community mediation center, which is definitely a large enough ask that we would need to revisit this and get council approval for that, we probably won't be able to offer anything. We will still be open to other possibilities and research other, availability of resources. There is no community mediation center in High Point that we can refer folks to either, but we're still open to other suggestions in how to fulfill that mandate. I don't see given what we've learned, I feel like we have reached the end of kind of what makes sense for that in terms of what the commission has asked staff to better understand. So that's where we are for that.
Okay.
Any questions about that? Okay.
All right.
Then the last thing is just a reminder that we have the backpack program coming up at the end of the month on July 31st. And that will be, we've already talked about that before, so I will be very brief, but we're giving away backpacks full of school supplies. We have a lot of events and activities for kids, and that is, we'll be running on the morning of Saturday, July 31st. We will have a flyer and a press release out soon that I will send to the commissioners so that you can share it. And that's it.
Let me, go ahead.
Who to volunteer for this? Is there a link, or who do we contact? Ms. Kennedy or Ms. Leggett for that?
Yeah, you could just contact me directly.
Okay.
This is unlike the Vax Connect, where we're kind of like partnering with them. This is our program with Basic. We are equal partners. And so if you told me you wanted to volunteer, we are absolutely looking for volunteers to pack those backpacks. It's a lot of fun. And the volunteering doesn't require any training and can just be, you show up at 7 a.m. and you leave when you need to leave. It's pretty easy. We have all the backpacks packed by 9. So at that point, it's just if you want to stay around and hand them out and see, happy smiling faces, and that's up to you.
Gotcha.
This is Councilman Tyrone Johnson, and we had a great time last year when we did that. And I am looking forward to doing that again. So count me in.
Absolutely. We will make sure you're on the invite list.
All right. Well, that sounds great. I think we all want to get in on that. Ms. Jones, and really, she asked the question I was going to ask about the link to get on, but that's great. That's great. We're looking forward to handing out the backpacks, and I'm sure the kids will be looking forward to getting ready for school. Hopefully.
As a parent, I am.
Maybe that's what I should have said. Maybe the parents are really looking forward to going back to school. But yes, so we'll be getting in touch with Mr. McCray to find out how we can volunteer our time and service. And anyone else have anything else they'd like to talk about or share with the committee?
So I understand that the book is in. So do we need to come by the office to pick that up from Denise? You're on mute, Bryce.
Yes, we're talking about the community read book, Trust First by Bruce Deal. That is available in my office, and we will be able to do that. Just for sure, just come by, pick up a copy. We can make it happen.
Gotcha. And then lastly, because I'm reading the minutes from last time because I wasn't there. So you were thinking about in person in August, correct?
Yes, that was kind of the last thing. I see Jerron was going to weigh in. I was wondering if he was going to actually mention that, we are going to be meeting in person in August. The mandate from the city has been lifted to have virtual meetings, and the city council is open again at their next meeting on July 19th for public comment. So we are following suit, and we'll be meeting in person on our August meeting, which will be on August 12th, and it will still be at 5:30, and it will be in the City Hall.
Just to add to that, thank you, Race. And so for our individual commissioners and for the ones that aren't here now, any provisions that you would normally take in your day-to-day life of attending an event or meeting, those would still be observed. I think the biggest thing is that the council has opened the meetings back to the public for public participation. So we're kind of meandering through to seeing what the transition from, the COVID sensitive virtual environment to the COVID sensitive in-person environment. So this is not an exact science as far as how we do these things, but if we're in person, you can take measures for this regarding masks or, just whatever. So the change is that we would be together at a location and the meetings would continue to be broadcast. So this is just getting us in the same space. There's some provisions there, I think, with what the council did that get into voting. So for our commissioners to be in person would mean the in-person commissioners would be allowed to vote. So that's really the two biggest parts. We want to continue to take all our safety precautions as you deem necessary and continue the business and the great work that we're doing. We've got a lot going on. So excited about August meeting and everything in between.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, I know I'm kind of looking forward to seeing everyone, but like Mr. Hollis said, please govern yourself according to whatever safety guidelines you have said or whatever you feel is safe for you and others, so we can all continue to do the great work that we do. So hopefully we're looking forward to seeing everyone in August. Anyone else have anything they'd like to say or to the committee? Okay. Since we don't, I'd like to thank everyone that's for being here. I really do appreciate you. Your time is very, very, very valuable to our to this committee. So I do thank you for taking the time to do this. Unless there's anything else to be said, let me ask you this, Mr. McCray. Can I get a motion to adjourn since we don't have a quorum?
I don't think that we do that. I think we just end the meeting because we don't have a quorum, so we can't take votes. Is that correct, Mr. Hollis?
Yeah, essentially we've had an informational session. Technically, since we didn't have a quorum, there's no official action that could be taken in this meeting, but this is an informational session essentially. So there's nothing to vote on because we don't have the necessary 4 that would make a quorum tonight, but we still covered some good ground.
Yes.
All right, with that being said, I'd like to say thank you to everyone. Everyone have a great evening, and we're looking forward to seeing y'all at our next meeting. Thank you. Have a great night.
Be safe.
Thank you.
All right. Be safe.